I'll combine my first two because they're kind of similar, but I've always been like worried that I didn't travel enough. And going off of that, I've always had the thought in my head, like, should I have moved away from home and experienced like a different part of the world or the country on my own, been forced to make friends on my own, like explore a new place on my own, get out of my comfort zone? Because I just feel like I always see like videos online or people online saying, oh, I moved to Germany for a year and like this is my cute apartment and these are my friends and this is what we do. And I'm like, I will never do that. At least on my own. I probably will never do that. And like I won't be like a young 20-something like living in Paris going out at night. I don't know. And I always think about that. And I saw this TikTok a long time ago. I probably can't find it because it was a long time ago. I know the creator of it, but should I shout her out?
Yeah.
Autumn Gruber. She posted this TikTok and it was like, it's interesting how you choose like one path in life and you just will never take these other paths. So like for me personally, like this is not in her video anymore, but like for me, like I guess I chose the path where I went to school, like college near my family. Then I graduated school, lived with my parents for like 5 years after college. And now I'm out living on my own, but also still I'm with my family. Like I'm still in my hometown, like I've never left and I'm always with my family. And I love that because I'm so close with my family. I can see my parents anytime I want, like every day. My sisters, like my brother lives in Colorado, but like, so like that's the path that I took for my 20s is staying in my hometown and being near my family. But then like other people, they'll move to a new city and they'll like build their own life out there, like away from family, away from friends. But then they like make friends that like become their family and they find their favorite coffee shop. Like they make these new like routines and stuff. And like, I just will never do that. Like that will never be in the cards for me. Mm-hmm. Even not even, but like not related to moving somewhere, but just like traveling a lot. Like you see all these people that are in a new country like every month. And I always thought like what better time to do that than in your 20s when you don't have kids and like you're not really tied to a place and you just have so much freedom. But I never did that either. Like I chose the route of like staying in my hometown. And you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah. Like the stuff you choose to do in your 20s kind of, you see these experiences that other people are having online and you're like, oh, maybe one day. But now as my 20s are coming to an end, I'm like, that will never be. Yeah. Like it won't be one day. Or if it is one day, it will be a very different variation of that because maybe I will be married or have kids or I'll be older when I like do all my traveling or move somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
it's so crazy to think about like the life path thing. And I have seen videos before too where people will be like, I'm living my city corporate girl life, but
I think it's the same TikTok.
Okay, maybe it probably
because
is.
She was like, I'm not like a surfer beach town girly who gets like a smoothie bowl every day. And I'm not near my family. Like I'm not like a hometown girl, whatever. I'm a corporate city girly. Like that's the one that I chose.
I wonder if we did see the same video. I do think that's an interesting, I don't know. I have so many thoughts about that because while like it is important to have experiences and like do things in order to grow as a person, I also don't think that the only way to do that is to go and move and live somewhere else. I don't think, not that you're like beating yourself up over it, but like if anyone is doing that, like I don't think that that is a reason to beat yourself up because there are so many reasons why people do things. And I think the only time that you should be like, or not the only time, but like if your reasons for doing that are positive, then I don't think it's a bad thing to do. Oh my God, I'm literally stumbling. I am saying this in the worst way.
I know what you're saying.
Basically, like there are reasons why you could move away to Paris for a year and there's reasons why you could stay in your hometown. If you're not moving to Paris because you're scared, because you're like, I just decided that I'm not brave enough to do that, but you want to so bad in the back of your head. Or you're like, yeah, I have money to do that, but like I should probably just put the money in my 401k and never spend any of it until I'm 60. Like if that's the reason, maybe don't do that. Maybe beat yourself up and be like, okay, well, I'm going to make it happen. But I also think that, but I think on the other hand of things, if you grow up in a town that you love, like another thing, I think we're spoiled because we grew up in the suburbs of Philly, having so much access, like so close that my best friends, their address was always Philadelphia, like growing up. So Philly's a big city and there's so much opportunity there. So it's funny when people are like, oh, get out of your hometown, because it's like our hometown is so great. And by hometown, I mean like the entire surrounding area. Like there's so many places that you can live that aren't my specific address, but like, you know, are not that far. But anyway, just this general area. I'm like, yeah, I could move away and do the exact same thing that I'm doing now, but just do it in California or Arizona or whatever. But I am fulfilled by spending time with my family that lives here. Like I am fulfilled by going on trips to X, Y, and Z places like a couple times a year. And I also think that some people are cut out for certain things and some people aren't. The idea of like up and moving to Hawaii or Paris or something, like it sounds so great, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be happy doing it. And like, I'm not saying don't try it, but I guess I'm more thinking of like, if you're beating yourself up over the fact that like you've never like taken this other life path because of positive reasons, like because I feel fulfilled doing this, I feel fulfilled living here, this is where I feel most at home. Like, I think it's fine to do that and like make that decision, because yeah, while having new experiences is great, like not all of them are good. And wait, I feel like I'm being so negative and I'm like making excuses. Like that's not really what I'm trying to do. Like, I guess there's that quote that's like, sometimes I feel my bones straining under the weight of all the lives I'm not living. You can't live every single life in the few years that you have. Like our life goes by in like a blink of an eye. It's like days are long, but like years are short. Like that kind of sentiment. And if you are feeling fulfilled, I think that's what matters. At least my perception of you, like I would say for the most part, you are fulfilled. Like,
yeah, definitely.
So I think that's more important than being like, well, I never got to experience like my Parisian girl life. Well, that Parisian girl didn't get to experience living with her mom for X amount of years. And then you don't have your parents forever. Like you don't have your friends forever. Like you don't have anyone forever. And like, it's so sad. And like, actually, this is a really good example. Like when I was younger, I wanted to be a surf photographer so bad. Like it was like my dream for a few years. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to travel all over the world and like photograph surfing. And there's this photographer that I really looked up to. She lives in Australia. And I'm like, she's so lucky because she just like lives on the coast. And if I just lived in Malibu and my whole family was in Malibu or, you know, Hawaii or anywhere, if I grew up there, I would have it so easy. Like I'd be able to just do the job and also see my family and not have to feel guilty about leaving my family all the time, leaving my friends. And then she posted like sharing her story more and more as like her career grew and she got bigger. And she posted, this life may seem glamorous and like it's so great that all I do is travel and I get to like be with all these pro surfers and they're my best friends and yada yada yada, but I gave up so much. And she wasn't from there. She was from a few hours away from the coast, and she moved away. She moved to the coast and put herself in the places that she needed to be in order to be successful like in that career path. And she said, I gave up so much. I gave up so many family parties. Like I gave up so many friends' birthdays, my parents' birthdays, like all this stuff, but this is now my life. But you can't have it all. Like it's so it's sad, but like you can't have it all. And like in a way, like you can, like I don't want to be like negative, but like no, like you can't spend your 25th year of life in Paris as a surfer, or in Hawaii as a surfer girl, in Paris as a model girl, like in Florida as a beachy girl. Like you can't do all, like maybe you could make it work doing 22-year-old in Hawaii, 23-year-old in Paris, 24-year-old in this other place, but like most people can't. Like you kind of have to pick what matters to you the most, and you have to be okay with the sacrifices that you're gonna make in order to have the thing that you want right now. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. I'm not trying to be negative and be like, well, just don't leave your hometown. I definitely think you should if you want to. Like, just think about the reason why you are making the choice that you're making. If it's like an excuse, that's probably when you should change it. But if it's a genuine reason about how you're living your life and it makes sense for you and it feels fulfilling for you and you're like, yeah, that would be great, but this is really where I am drawn to. Who cares if it's your hometown or not? Like, you're allowed to live in your hometown. You're allowed to live near your parents if that is what makes you feel so fulfilled at the end of the day. And like, yeah, living in Paris would be nice, but living near my mom matters the most. Because most people can't have both. So that's kind of how I see it right now. And I really don't want to sound like I'm trying to like make excuses for like why I live near Philly.
Right.
And I grew up near Philly, or like why I'm gonna probably live near Philly in my life. And this is also where I grew up, or like, I don't know. I think that's my thought on it.
And honestly, like we are lucky because I think it's a beautiful area, like where we live.
We're so lucky.
Maybe I would have had more of a push to get out if it was like, not to knock any other place, but like at middle of nowhere, Nebraska, like maybe I would have been like, okay, I kind of want to see the world. But I do think that we live in like a really nice area and like it's naturally beautiful and there is so much for us to do and experience here. So I've never like truly felt the push to get out. I've always been very content here. So, and I still am, but it's hard not to have the thoughts like, what if I chose this, or what if I did this? But no, I am very happy. And like, I think I always pictured some future self that I don't even know, like different personality, Trish, like going somewhere and doing something, and it never happened because that's just like not me. I just always like pictured that would happen eventually, but I'm like, well, no, it's not me. And now that I'm 28, like I do know who I am and like what I value, and it is like family time and friends and living in a pretty area, and like this does it for me. So you know what I mean? Like I've never felt the need, but like I said, it's hard not to have those thoughts.
It totally is. And we are biased. Like I am so biased because our culture where we live is so different from the culture where other people live, even like California to here. So in our culture, like the Philly area culture, even New York, you spend your winters in the city and you spend your summer driving down the shore or like to Long Island, to the Hamptons, like whatever. And that's a really like privileged, I guess, way of living. But that is how we grew up. Like we grew up going to the shore on the weekends in the summer. You live in the city like in the winter. Like it's this perfect balance.
Yeah. We have all 4 seasons. Like, it is like, it's a good place to live.
So we are so biased. Like, and also we live in an area where if someone else was like, I'm going to up and move to this place, I think Philly would be on the list, honestly. Like New York, LA, maybe Austin, like California, Hawaii. Like there are people that like up and move to where we live. So we are so biased. Like, and it's so easy to be fulfilled here because you are like, there's just so much opportunity where we live. So I definitely have a bit of a skewed perception of it. I'm also like so privileged in my job and with my family. Like I have been able to travel a lot, and I have future plans of travel as well that I will be able to achieve with my life right now. Like I will be able to do these things as long as I live. Like if I'm alive, I'll be able to do them. And if I'm dead, I won't even know the difference. So like I am privileged. Like, I'm privileged, so I know like that's where this is coming from for me. I don't know. I do think regardless, it comes down to the reasoning, because all these things that we're saying, like these are reasons. Like in my opinion, they're not excuses. At least they're not for me. Maybe they would be an excuse for somebody else, but like it really only like the difference between a reason or an excuse is like subjective. Like it depends on the person and each situation. So if everything we're saying sounds like an excuse to you, maybe that's a sign that you got to get up and move to Paris or get up and move to Hawaii or you know, wherever you actually want to live. So I think that's how I feel about that. But it is so hard. It's so hard.